Hello and welcome to our new series of minisodes with author and police advisor Graham Bartlett. Graham is a best-selling author and crime and police procedural advisor to fiction and TV writers. He was a police officer for 30 years and mainly policed the city of Brighton and Hove, rising to become a chief superintendent and its police commander. Graham started writing when he left the police in 2013 and, almost by accident, became a police procedural and crime advisor, helping scores of authors and TV writers, including Peter James, Mark Billingham, Ellie Griffiths, Anthony Horowitz, Ruth Ware, Claire McGowan and Dorothy Coomson, achieve authenticity in their drama. He also runs online crime writing workshops and courses with the Professional Writing Academy and delivers inputs to master's programmes at the University of Cambridge and the University of East Anglia, as well as at the Crime Writing Certificate programme at West Dean College. He lives in Sussex with his wife Julie and, variously, his 24-year-old triplets. His debut crime novel, Bad for Good, is out now, and not only is it a fantastic, gritty novel, it's also an absolute must-read for anyone looking to write in the police procedural genre.
That's absolutely right. And each episode of our minisodes will be around 10 minutes long, and we'll focus on how crime authors can ensure authenticity when writing about the police. So without further ado, please welcome the fabulous Graham Bartlett. Hello again, Graham, and welcome to our second minisode, which today is all about research. And this is the first question I've got for you, and which is, watching lots of crime dramas on TV, is it a good way to do research? I'm hoping the answer is yes.
Well, yes. There's your answer. No, seriously, it is a good way of doing research because, you know, if you're writing novels or you're writing TV itself, you know, it's really important to understand, you know, how crime is portrayed fictionally. That doesn't always mean that you should take everything that you see on those programs, as gospel. You know, I would suggest to do that. Watch as many of the fly on the wall documentaries, observational documentaries, as you possibly can. I was talking with an author the other day, and she had a custody scene, and she'd written it really, really well. But she, you know, it was. I said to her, it's just, you know, it's one of the best custody scenes I've ever seen. But, you know, go on ITV Hub or Channel 4, whatever it was, and look at a program called Hotel Custody, because you're actually in a custody block there, and you're seeing how the dynamics and how the custody staff are with prisoners and all that sort of thing. So those observational documentaries are really good, and I watch them. You know, I watch them all the time. I think they're great. But by watching crime drama, particularly the ones that are better on procedure than others, you can see the way that the writers have given the right level of nod to the procedure without bogging down the story. And you know, and it's really important to recognize that, you know, you can overdo it. But you know, I mean, I do a lot of work with television writers now, and I know the pain that they go through in even getting a development budget for them. So to actually get it on the screen, there's a huge amount of work that goes into it. So story-wise, they're usually very, very well structured, and you know, there's a great story there. So you can get the kind of the writing element from that, but don't be sucked in by all the procedure, because even in series that I've advised on, the producers have said, yeah, we understand that's how it would really work, but we want to do it like that. And I am just the advisor, so I give advice and they decide whether or not they're going to take it.
And do you find that authors sometimes confuse UK with US procedures and terminology? Because there's so many we watch so many different types of dramas now from all over the world. Is that a problem that you sometimes see?
It is, and in fact, some US terminology has actually found its way into reality. So CSI was, 10 years ago, no one was a CSI in the UK, a crime scene investigator. They were a scenes of crime officer. Now, because of CSI, even the real role has changed. But there's lots of things that are sort of imported from the States that by writers. I mean, one of the things is, autopsy is a term that is a US term. In England and Wales, it's post-mortem. It's the post-mortem examination. People confuse the coroner as being the pathologist. So in the States, if those of us of a certain age will remember Quincy, who was the coroner. So Quincy used to actually carry out the autopsies, or the post-mortems as we call them there. Call them here. So they think the coroner is the person who is the one who is going to actually cut the skin, and they're not in the UK. It's a judicial role in the UK. Oh goodness, says, I mean, because of the role of the FBI in the States, people think the National Crime Agency have a similar role here, because we read in the paper that they're the UK equivalent of the FBI, and they're not. They have specific responsibilities for serious and organised crime, international crime in the UK. The FBI obviously have responsibility for federal offences, and so you suddenly get the National Crime Agency brought in to help on a murder investigation. Well, again, that wouldn't happen over here. So it's really important to watch, read, and enjoy US fiction, crime, either written or TV, but understand that it is based elsewhere. I mean, I get people come to me quite often and say, "Oh, I'm basing this book in the States. I wonder if you can help." And I go back and go, "Well, there are 50 states in the US. I don't know well enough the policing in any of them. So perhaps go and find somebody in that state who will be able to help you, because they're all different."
They're all different, yeah.
So it's really, it's kind of understanding what is fiction, and enjoy the stories, enjoy the fiction, but don't take them as reality.
Good advice.
It is good advice, yes. So if an author is either really pushed for time or can't afford to pay for services such as yourselves, what key resources would you recommend that they sort of look at to get it right?
Yeah, okay, and a lot of people will be in that position, and I think it's important for people to use whatever they can to get their stories as authentic as possible. There's lots of books that are available from former police officers that describe procedures and describe kind of the world of policing. If you know someone who knows someone who knows someone who's a police officer, go and talk to them. Just get them, get their side of things. I talked earlier about observational documentaries. They're brilliant. Just watch those. The CSI documentaries, the 24 Hours in Police Custody, they're all really, really good. So I say CSI documentary, they're not CSI. But the thing that you have to remember is if you're reading a book that describes how policing is, or how the courts work, or whatever, what you're not getting there, so you need to apply, you need to remember this if you're going to use that, you're not getting that kind of, yeah, but I want this to happen. You're not getting the kind of, I'll always say that there are very few scenarios that I won't be able to find a credible procedural way around, because I've kind of lived and breathed policing for half my adult life. So no, it's more than half my adult life. Anyway, so just be aware that you're getting a "this is how it is" account, and also from if you're going to an officer who's not a writer, you've got the this is how it is. And then you need to then work out where the parameters are, how far you want to veer from that. We'll help you do that. That's what we do. But just be aware that is the limitation. But absolutely go to those books, watch those TV programs, talk to someone that's in policing. They'll all help.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. But sadly, that's all we've got time for today. So thank you for listening to our Minisode with police advisor and author Graham Bartlett. And thank you, Graham, for sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Graham. And if you haven't already listened, then do have a listen to Graham's full In Suspense interview on policing for authors, which is Series 6, Episode 7.
So that's it for now. It's goodbye from Graham. It's goodbye from Lauren. And it's goodbye from me. Bye.